Welcome to Editing Basics. I'm going to show you just the very beginner stuff of how to get going using Final Cut Pro and editing a project. So first thing is you need to get your footage onto your computer. So depending how you filmed this, whether it's from an SD card or if you're downloading something, I'll show you both ways. So right here, this is an SD card that I plugged into the computer. If you double click on it, it will open in its own window. Usually footage, video stuff is in a folder called DCIM, but it could be in one called private, depending what kind of camera you use, but most often it's in here. And then the camera itself will make these folders, so you don't know for sure which one it is. You'll just have to go through. So let me see if this is what I want. That's short for Panasonic. And then you can click on it, just click it once and it'll show a little thumbnail thing. Well, and this depends what view you're looking at too. You might be in thumbnail mode or you might be in list mode. Or if you want to see it bigger, just hit the space bar while it's selected. And you can see a preview of it there. Alright, so if this is the stuff that you want, then you want to copy it onto your computer. Just to keep things organized, let's say you want to make a folder on your desktop. So you could go new folder, and it makes that there. And this project is called My Pepsi. And then I can either just drag this into the folder, or to make it easier, let's double click that. So it's got its own window here. And now I can select all these videos. Easiest way is just select one of them and then hit Command A, and that will select everything in that folder. Or if you just want a few, you could click on the top one and then hold Shift, click on the last one that you want, and it selects everything in between. So I'm just going to select a few of these, drag them in here, and that's going to copy over. So that's how you do it if it's from an SD card. If it's if you're downloading it from online, which some of these projects you do it that way. So like for this assignment, edit a class movie, download the files here. Okay, let's go to this link, and then this thing comes up. It can't preview the file. That just means Google Drive itself can't play the video. But you can just hit download. Too large, scan for viruses, download. Anyway, yes, I made this folder. I know it's okay. So we'll download that. I'm using Chrome, and so it looks like this. Some of the other browsers look differently. They might have something up here, but it should show you your download progress. And then once that finishes, I'll just go here and show you where it ends up. If you double click on any one of these folder or drives, it'll open a window, or you can just go up here to Finder, new Finder window. And then over here on the left, you have a downloads folder. So anything you've downloaded from online is in here. And here is our footage. This one happens to be a .zip file, which means it's a bunch of files that's all combined into one. So you just need to open this before you try and get it into Final Cut. So just double click on that. Then it says expanding, and now we have a folder here called My Pepsi. You can either leave it in your downloads, or if you want to keep it organized, we could, well, I already made this one, but you could drag it onto your desktop like that. Sure, we'll replace. Okay. Now we've got a folder on our desktop called My Pepsi. But if you left it in the downloads, let's just expand that. So now we've got them in both places. Okay, let's open up Final Cut. I will hide this. I can leave this here for now. So the easiest way is if you have Final Cut down here, this thing that pops up is called your dock. And this is just the programs you use most frequently. There's some on there by default, but you can customize it. You can see I've added a few things that probably look different from your computer, but I do not have Final Cut on here. Normally I do, but I just wanted to show you how it's done. So if you go to Launchpad, this shows all the programs that are on the computer. And if you've got more than one dot down here, that means there's multiple screens. So just go around until you find Final Cut Pro. And I'm going to click this and drag the icon for it onto the dock. So now it will always be down there. Or you can just click it from here, it'll open, but if you want it to always be on the dock, that's one way to do that. Okay, now we've got Final Cut open here. Let me make this full screen. All right, then over here, this is our library, and by default it is called Untitled. So if you don't have to double click it, just select it and then click it one more time, and then this thing comes up so you can change the name. So you can name it whatever you want. You could give it the name of the project. Some people like to create a new library for every project that they do. I would think for this class you can just have the one library. So I'll just put my name on here. We can even name it library too, Arnold Library. Okay, and it's created an event here by default. So that's this thing with the star in it. Let's rename this, or let's just make a new one. File, new event. Okay, and I will name this My Pepsi, and it will go in Arnold Library. I think by default this is not checked. So let's just hit OK. There we go. New event. Now let's import some media. So if you have this arrow here, you can do that, or you can go up to this arrow, or you can go up to the File menu, Import Media. They all do the same thing. Let's do this. This brings up our import window where we find those files that we're looking for. So if it's in your Downloads folder, I'll show you that first. You click on your name here with the house next to it. That brings up all of the folders that are associated with you, and you can just find downloads in there. You can either drop down that, or you can double click it, or whatever. And let's sort it by content created. There, now it has the newest things on here. Here's the My Pepsi folder, and I could go in here and just select certain videos, but if you just click on the folder once so it's selected, then other thing I would do is change this to leave files in place. That means if this one's checked, it's going to make another copy of this folder inside your library. So you'll basically have two copies of all of these videos. So if it's already on your computer, I would say leave files in place. Then all the rest of this, don't worry about yet. Hit import selected. There we go. Now we've got all of our videos here. So this is some kind of revenge thriller about having your Pepsi stolen. First thing we want to do is now we need to make a project. So this is the event. That's where all the files get stored. You can watch these. But now let's make a project. This is the timeline where we do the editing. So I can click here, and I'm just going to name this the same thing. And I'll put like V1 for version 1. Then all of these things, I think yours will probably look more like this, but I generally go to custom settings and then choose the size of the video you want it to be. So you can do HD, that's the most common one. You've also got vertical, square, 4K, all that stuff. And then choose your resolution and your frame rate. This is the most common one, all of these things. So I'll hit OK on that. There we go. Now we've got a project or timeline down here, and we can start putting videos down in it. So let's go to, none of these are named anything specific, it's just the number they came with on the camera. It is currently in chronological order, I mean the order that we filmed it in. So it might not be the order that we want to see it in. That's where you get to decide as the editor of this. But let's just start with this one. Oh, also I'm in list view here, which probably is different from you. Maybe yours looks more like this, or maybe something like this, where each video takes up multiple lines on the screen. If you want to zoom in or out of this area, Command minus will zoom out, or Command plus will zoom in. And then if you just hover the mouse over it, it kind of shows what happens in that video clip. Let's get it to about there so we can kind of tell how long these videos are. Then we'll start with this one. Either I can click on it and then drag the whole thing down onto the timeline, or if I just want a specific part of it, I can click and drag. Oh, once you've already clicked on it, then it doesn't let you click and drag it again. But I could click the edge of that yellow box like that. So that's another way, but for now, let's just put this in here. Let's play this back. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it. I don't think it's recording the computer audio with this. But just by looking at this, here, I'm going to zoom in. This button right here is the easy way to zoom in or out on the timeline. And you can also change how tall or short the clips are. So let's go right about there. So just by looking at it, I can tell this mountain right here, this is the audio levels. So where it makes a little mountain peak, that's a louder part. So that's probably where I say action. So I don't want to see this in our finished video, so I'm just going to hover over the edge here and slide that over. Now it will just start right there. So she goes up to the Pepsi machine, and let's change to a different shot after this. So I'm going to go to the right side and drag that over. So now it's just going to end right there. Now let's go to our next shot. Hey, why is this the wrong order? Let's find it. Okay, we want to use one of these. Let's try this one. So I click on it, drag it down here. And again, I want to cut out the part where I say action. So slide that over. Let's see if we can match where she's putting the dollar bill in here. So I hit play. There. So we pause that, and then I can slide this to match right there. And maybe scoot this back to where she's extended her hand. Something like that. And then she's looking at it, so maybe let's cut to this other shot of her looking at it. First, let's, I'm going to show you another way. I'm going to split this in half, this video clip. So I'm going to go here, razor blade. Well, now it's scissors, but they still call it blade. And now if I click where this line is, now it's made it into two different videos. So you can move them around separately. Let's just move that up out of the way. Now I've got this weird, just a black video, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, so let's find one where she's choosing her drink, and this time I'm going to click and drag it first. So see how it just makes this yellow box in it? So it's not going to drag down the whole video, it'll just drag whatever's inside this yellow area. And bunch of things you can do while you're dragging it down. If I go here, then it attaches it to this other clip, and then as soon as it gets here, it shows whatever's on the top. Or I can put it here and it pushes everything else to the right. or you can move it to the end. So pretty easy to move things around. All right, so we've got that in there. We'll shorten this. Wonder if there is a close-up of her choosing what she wants. Close-up of the, oh, there we go. Let's put that down. And that one wasn't so great, so let's just select that. I'm going to hit delete, and now it's gone. Let's try the second one. Okay, then I'm going to go back here right before she pushes it, and we only need to see a bit of that. And then we can go back to this one that we had saved. Oh, now we want to go to after she's pushed the button right there, probably. Oh, how rude. Okay. So there we go. Those are the basics on how to start editing your video. I'll make a separate video about how to work with sound effects and do some graphics and effects, visual effects, all that kind of stuff. Let's get rid of this extra thing. So just to review, once things are in here, you can move them around, change the order. You can click on the edges of them to extend or shorten them. You can drag things down from here, and that's about it. See you next time.